At the beginning of the film, we see a group of children from the village heading out to play in the fields. Before they left, Abdi's father warned them to return home before dark. All the children nodded in agreement and went on their way. They played for hours until it was nearly dark. While the other children returned home, Abdi and his friend decided to stay behind and keep playing. While they were playing, their ball accidentally rolled away into the fields. By then, it was already evening. Abdi suggested they head back home, but his friend insisted on retrieving the ball. He ventured into the fields, but the ball suddenly disappeared. Darkness began to spread, and as Abdi's friend moved further, he saw the ball in the hands of a young girl. The girl's face looked strange, almost demonic. Despite her eerie appearance, Abdi's friend wasn't frightened and approached her to get the ball, even as Abdi tried to stop him. When they finally emerged from the fields, Abdi saw that the girl had captured his friend and killed him by smashing a stone against his head. Terrified, Abdi ran back to the village in a panic, shouting for help. The villagers gathered and followed him to search for his friend. When they reached the spot where Abdi had last seen him, the boy was gone. Instead, they found his lifeless body on a rock in the river. The entire village was shaken by the incident. The father of the deceased child accused Abdi of murder, believing he had killed his friend and fabricated the story to cover it up. Just as Abdi was about to be punished unjustly, a respected elder from the village stepped forward and defended him. The elder declared that he believed Abdi's story and insisted that the boy was innocent. He suggested that the culprit might be Sumala, a mysterious figure who could still be alive. The villagers were confused, as they had never heard of Sumala. The elder then began to tell them Sumala's story. 29 years earlier, the richest man in the village, Sojiman, had no children. His uncle, eager to inherit his land, pressured him to produce an heir. Enraged, Sojiman threatened his wife, warning her that if she did not bear a child within a year, he would remarry. Devastated, Sojiman's wife sought help from a woman rumored to assist women in conceiving. She visited the woman with one of her maids, and the old woman revealed that she practiced black magic with the help of a demon. She agreed to help Sojiman's wife conceive, but warned that there would be a price. The woman would bear 2 daughters, one her own and the other the demon's. The demon's daughter would have a malevolent nature, and harming her would bring ruin. Desperate for a child, Sojiman's wife agreed. The old woman performed a ritual, mixing blood with other substances, and instructed her to drink it. She promised that good news would come within 2 months. True to her word, Sojiman's wife became pregnant. Overjoyed, Sojiman announced the news to the village and began planning names for his daughters. He decided on Sumala and Kumala. When the time came for the babies to be born, strange events unfolded. A demon was seen sitting in the room as the first daughter, Sumala, was born lifeless. The second daughter, Kumala, was born disfigured and grotesque. Enraged, Sojiman attempted to kill Kumala, but his wife stopped him, reminding him of her pact with the demon. Unaware of the deal, Sojiman stabbed Kumala, killing her. As soon as Kumala died, Sumala miraculously came to life and began to cry. Sojiman, overjoyed, announced the birth of his daughter to the village. However, as Sumala grew older, it became clear that she was paralyzed on one side of her body. Despite attempts to treat her, her condition did not improve. One day, while riding a bicycle, Sumala became inexplicably angry when her mother tried to stop her. She lashed out, and her father, furious, locked her in a dungeon. Over the years, Sumala was neglected and mistreated, her mother haunted by the memory of her deal with the demon and the promise to love both daughters equally. One day, Kumala manages to escape from the dungeon and wanders into the market. As soon as the children in the market see her, they begin mocking her deformed hands and feet. They throw mud on her face and hit her with balls, humiliating her deeply. Sojiman and his wife, who happen to be passing through the market, witness this cruelty but do nothing to intervene. Later, Sojiman sends a servant to bring Kumala home. Enraged that she had disobeyed his orders to stay indoors, he beats her severely with a cane. Some, the maid of Sojiman's wife, who deeply cares for Kumala, tries to protect her but is unable to stop the punishment. After Sojiman leaves, Sum tends to Kumala's wounds, applying medicine to her bruised body. She comforts Kumala and encourages her to play the piano to calm herself. Sum also gifts Kumala a doll she had made, as it was Kumala's birthday, a fact no one else remembered. That night, as Kumala sleeps, the door of her cupboard creaks open at midnight. From it emerges the spirit of Sumala, her sister who was killed by their father at birth. Kumala is terrified at first, but Sumala's spirit embraces her and reassures her, saying, "Don't be afraid of me. I won't harm you because you're my sister. Our father killed me, and now he treats you just as cruelly. I will take revenge for both of us." After this, Sumala's spirit lets out an eerie laugh, hinting at her sinister plans. Notably, her reflection does not appear in the mirror. The next day, while Kumala is playing the piano, the noise irritates her father, Sojiman. In a fit of anger, he slaps her. His wife, who is present, remains silent, offering no comfort or defense for Kumala. It becomes clear that even her mother has no love for her. As Sum tries to console Kumala and urges her to stay strong, a sudden change occurs in Kumala's body. She stands up and begins walking normally, despite her paralysis. This shocks everyone, as Kumala had never been able to walk before. Kumala walks to her father's study, picks up a pen, and taps it on his hand. Sojiman is stunned by her sudden ability to walk and her boldness. However, his anger only intensifies. Unbeknownst to him, it is not Kumala but Sumala's spirit controlling her actions. Despite this, Kumala is the one who suffers the consequences. Sojiman ties her to a cross and leaves her hanging in the village square under the scorching sun. No one comes to her aid. That night, during dinner, Sumala's spirit possesses Kumala again. In a bizarre and unsettling manner, Kumala removes her clothes and behaves erratically at the dining table. Her mother, initially furious, becomes terrified when she sees Sumala's spirit reflected in the mirror, controlling Kumala's actions. Sum, the maid, tries to take Kumala away, but Kumala breaks free and runs to the fields, where she begins eating raw chicken. When she regains consciousness, Sum asks her, "Kumala, why are you doing all this? You were never like this." Kumala reveals the truth. "It's not me. Sumala's spirit is making me do these things." Kumala's mother overhears this and is filled with dread. She realizes that she has broken her deal with the demon, and now, as the old woman had warned, her family and everything she holds dear will be destroyed. Desperate for help, she decides to seek out the old woman who had facilitated the deal. However, when she reaches the river, the boatman informs her that the old woman died a month ago. Overwhelmed with fear, Kumala's mother confides in Sum, revealing the truth about her pact with the demon and how she had broken it, leading to the chaos unfolding around them. Years pass, but the mistreatment of Kumala continues. Sum pleads with Sojiman to stop his cruelty, but he refuses, claiming that Kumala is becoming increasingly ill-mannered and deserves punishment. Despite this, Sum remains a source of love and support for Kumala, telling her, "No matter what, I am yours and I love you deeply." Kumala's respect for Sum grows, while her resentment toward her parents deepens. The next day, the same children who had mocked Kumala in the market return to torment her. Under the pretense of playing, they lure her outside, smear mud on her face, and hit her with a ball before running away. Sum chases them off, but Kumala's parents, who watch from a distance, do nothing to stop the children. As punishment for leaving the house, Kumala is once again locked in the dungeon. That night, Kumala's mother hears strange noises coming from the dark room. She wants to investigate, but her husband dismisses her concerns, calling them mere illusions. However, her fears are justified. Sumala's spirit possesses Kumala once more, enabling her to break free. Kumala takes a dagger and ventures into the fields, with Sumala's spirit following closely behind. They approach one of the children who had mocked Kumala's disability. The child, seeing Kumala walking and Sumala's spirit behind her, is paralyzed with fear. Before the boy could run toward his house, Kumala caught him from behind and stabbed him in the waist with the dagger she was holding, killing him. She then went after his two friends, who were still outside at night. First, she terrified them, mocked them, and then attacked and killed them as well. The next day, the parents of the 3 dead children and the entire village began searching for them, but they were nowhere to be found. The villagers decided to expand their search to neighboring villages the following day. Until then, they forbade all children from leaving their homes after sunset. The children, obeying their elders, stayed indoors, whispering among themselves about what might have happened to the 3 missing boys. They wondered if the boys had gone off to tease someone else, but their thoughts were interrupted when Kumala appeared and left a ball near them. One of the children picked up the ball and took it outside, luring the others to follow. As the children stepped outside, one of them noticed the dagger in Kumala's hand. Before they could react, Kumala attacked and brutally killed all of them. The next morning, the villagers discovered the bodies of the slain children. One body was hidden under leaves near the well, while another was found inside the well itself. When some drew water from the well, she noticed it was tinged with blood. The rest of the children's bodies were scattered across the fields, their heads severed and impaled on sticks like a gruesome string of pearls. The horrifying sight left everyone, including Sojiman, deeply shaken. Near the bodies, Kumala's doll was found, leading the villagers to suspect that either Kumala or her father was responsible for the murders. When the villagers confronted Sojiman, he defended himself, saying, "Do you have any proof that I did this? And if you're blaming my daughter, how could she possibly do such things? She can barely walk." Even Sojiman struggled to believe that Kumala could be capable of such violence, though he recalled her occasional ability to walk and her strange behavior. He wondered if she might indeed be responsible. To investigate further, Sojiman went to the dungeon where Kumala was locked. There, he discovered a large hole covered with sacks, confirming that Kumala had escaped during the night. Frightened, Kumala's mother finally spoke up, revealing that it was not Kumala but Sumala's spirit who was behind the killings. She told Sojiman that she had seen Sumala's spirit with her own eyes. To uncover the truth, Sojiman went to Kumala's room and promised her, "If you tell me the truth, I won't harm you. Who is behind all this?" Kumala confessed that Sumala's spirit was responsible. She explained, "I tried to stop her, but she wouldn't listen. Sumala's spirit has vowed to kill everyone who has ever hurt me." This revelation terrified Sojiman, as he realized he had been one of Kumala's worst tormentors. Fearing for his safety, Sojiman ordered his servants to lock Kumala in the dungeon even more securely, ensuring she couldn't move or be controlled by Sumala's spirit. Desperate for a solution, he sought the help of a shaman. The shaman performed rituals and chanted spells to uncover the truth. Through his magic, he revealed the entire story. How Sojiman's wife had made a pact with a demon to conceive children, and how the demon's daughter, Sumala, had been killed at birth, leading to the curse now haunting their family. The shaman also revealed that it was the 9th birthday of both Kumala and Sumala. When some went to give Kumala a gift, Kumala warned her, "You shouldn't come near me today. Sumala's spirit has told me that after midnight, she will kill everyone here. I don't want her to harm you." Following Kumala's warning, some left with her son, despite his protests about leaving behind the comforts of their home. That night, when Sojiman's servant brought food to Kumala, she refused to eat it. When she asked for different food, the servant began to mistreat her, unaware of the danger lurking in the shadows. At this moment, Kumala picks up a cockroach lying nearby and eats it in a bizarre manner, as if she finds it delicious. The servant, horrified by what he sees, becomes visibly upset. The scene then shifts to Sojiman and the shaman, where Sojiman is pleading for a solution to the chaos. Suddenly, the shaman's eyes turn white, and he becomes visibly frightened. The shaman warns Sojiman, "Today the demon, Sumala, has fully taken control of Kumala and will destroy everything." To counteract this, the shaman hands Sojiman a dagger and instructs him, "Weaken her powers and bring her to me. I will handle the rest." He adds, "If she escapes your grasp and you cannot bring her here, You must stab this dagger into Kumala's heart and kill her on the spot. We cannot allow this child of the devil to remain in the human world, or she will continue to kill relentlessly." Meanwhile, Kumala frees herself, clearly with Sumala's assistance. She emerges from the servant's room, pretending to cry. When the servant, who had denied her proper food, tries to grab her, Kumala attempts to kill him. Terrified, the servant flees, with Kumala chasing him. Despite his efforts to evade her, Kumala breaks through a door by stabbing it and enters the house. As the servant runs for his life, Kumala throws the knife at him with a spinning motion, embedding it in his body and killing him instantly. The scene then shifts to Kumala's mother, who wakes up to the sound of piano music. When she goes downstairs, she finds Kumala playing the piano. Upon seeing her mother, Kumala begins running toward her in a strange, menacing manner, clutching a knife. Her mother, glancing into a mirror, realizes it is Sumala's spirit controlling Kumala. Frightened, she apologizes to Sumala and backs away, only to stumble upon the servant's lifeless body. Realizing that both Kumala and Sumala intend to kill her, she runs to her room, barricades the door, and places a stool in front of it for added security. Kumala, however, relentlessly stabs the door with the dagger, eventually forcing it open. Despite her mother's desperate apologies, Kumala shows no mercy. She stabs her mother in the leg and attempts to kill her, leaving her in excruciating pain. In her final moments, Kumala's mother pleads with Sumala, "I have one last wish. Let me speak to Kumala." Hearing this, Sumala momentarily loses control, allowing Kumala's mother to apologize. "I always allowed you to suffer to protect myself from criticism. I was a terrible mother." Kumala, moved by her mother's apology, feels a surge of emotion and wants to forgive her. But before she can, Sumala regains control and brutally kills her mother by cutting her hands and stabbing her repeatedly. By the time Sojiman returns home, he is met with the gruesome sight of the servants and his wife's lifeless bodies. Devastated, he realizes that his own actions, killing Sumala and mistreating Kumala, have led to this tragedy. As he grapples with his guilt, he hears a chair shaking in his room. He turns to see Kumala sitting there, with Sumala's spirit violently shaking the chair. Sumala then merges with Kumala's body, fully taking control, and advances towards Sojiman to kill him. In a desperate attempt to save himself, Sojiman flees the house and rushes to the village. He beats a drum to wake the villagers and informs them of his wife and servants' deaths. The villagers, shocked and saddened, accompany him back to his house, where they see the two bodies. Sojiman does not reveal that Kumala is responsible for the murders, but asks the villagers to help find her, explaining that he needs to take her to the shaman. The villagers, however, quickly deduce that Kumala is behind the killings, including the deaths of the village children. Enraged, they decide to kill her. Before Sojiman can explain that Kumala must not be killed, the villagers disperse, determined to hunt her down. Sojiman, armed with a dagger, rope, and other tools, sets out to find Kumala himself. As he searches, he spots her, but she immediately runs toward the forest. When Sojiman reaches the fields, Kumala ambushes him. To defend himself, he grabs a nearby stone and strikes Kumala on the head, rendering her unconscious.